Welcome to the video, folks. So what is happening? Am I transitioning over to being a chef? Well, no, I'm not, because to be perfectly honest with you, I'm no good at cooking. My wife does majority of the cooking and it's unsociable hours. So, but what I do try and do is I try and look after myself. Excuse the dog walking around. I try and look after myself. I try and eat relatively healthy. I'm not a monk, I'm not a bodybuilder, but I'm a regular gym goer and I try and eat decent, wholesome food. And what I notice from majority of our lads, bricklayers, scaffolders, labourers, scaffolding labourers, is they're either vaping or they've got an energy drink or they got both in their hands. And to be honest, if you're not fueled up right, you're not going to be able to do your job. And the other thing is going to the shop at break time at 10 and 1 or in the mornings, it's bloody expensive. So I'm going to knock up one of my favourites. I'm going to take you through it. It's relatively straightforward. Protein banana bread. Now, you don't have to have the protein powder in there if you don't want to, but I like to eat a good source of protein. So it's relatively cheap. Majority of these things probably be in your cupboard anyway, bar the protein powder if you're not into your gym, but you can just drop that if you want, but I think it makes it a bit tastier. So let's have a look at the ingredients first and foremost. Then I'm going to knock it up, whack it in the oven, and we'll see what the outcome is. Perfect snack to take to work, decent, healthy, cheap, and I'll put the macros on screen as well. Now, if you're not familiar with macros, macros consist of protein, fats, and carbohydrates. So if you're that way inclined and you keep an eye on that, that'll be on the screen and the recipe will be in the description. But let's have a little look at the ingredients first and foremost. Here we go then. So we've got some plain flour, pretty standard, should be in most people's cupboard, I reckon. We got the baking powder and we got bananas. Now I prefer them to be ripe, and we got egg whites. You don't have to buy egg whites, you can just use eggs and do away with the yolk. And this is my protein powder of choice at the moment. This is carrot cake flavour, so I thought it would go quite nice in, you know, in with the cake type mixture. And a bit of cinnamon as well. And I will put a bit of sugar in there and a bit of salt in there. So I follow a recipe off of Muscle Food. So banana bread is one of my favourites. 1 of your 5 a day, good source of protein, easy to make, easy to store, last a week in your fridge, and perfect to have a little snack at break time. So I've preheated the oven to 180 degrees. I'm going to knock this little mixture up, then whack it in the pan, whack it in the oven. All the details will be in the descriptions. So let's see how I get on with this, shall we? So the first thing you have to do is stick all your dry ingredients into a bowl, and then you need to sieve it into another bowl. So we've got 170 grams of flour in here, we've got 60 grams of whey protein, we've got a teaspoon of cinnamon, we've got a couple of teaspoons of the baking powder, we've got a pinch of salt, and we've got a little bit of 10 grams of sugar as well. So now we're going to sieve that into this bowl, and then we will get onto the wet ingredients. So first things first, dry, make sure you sieve it, otherwise it won't rise and it'll be a bit stodgy. Right, the next stage is to mix the wet ingredients separately, and then you got to add them all together before you stick it into the cake tin. So I've got 3 bananas, the recipe actually states 2, but I like it more banana-y, so I've got more bananas, so adjust it as you see fit. So I've got 2 egg whites, 3 bananas, and 150 milliliters of water. Then I'll whisk this all together and make it into like a paste mixture. Then I can add it to the dry ingredients. Now 2 egg whites or 1 egg white is typically about 25 grams, or just separate 1 egg from 1 yolk and that'd be good enough. Don't sweat the small stuff. So like I said, 3 bananas, 50 grams of egg whites, and 150 milliliters of water, and then we're going to turn this into a paste, and then I'm going to waz it in here, and then I'll probably use the KitchenAid to do the hard work for me, and then I'll stick it in a little cake tin just like that before I whiz it in the oven. So, but let's get this mixed up first and turn it into a paste, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I've now whisked up and mashed all the bananas and the egg white and the water together. So now that can be whacked in with the dry mixture, and then I'll stick it in the KitchenAid, and then I can put it in the grease-proof pan and we are up and running. So just mash up your bananas. You can pre-mash them in a little bowl before you add them in here if you want, but I just think it's easier just to break them down initially and then use just your potato masher. So pretty straightforward. So now we're going to mix this in with the dry ingredients, Put it in the KitchenAid just for a good mix up before whacking it in the oven. There we go then, so dry mixture in with the wet mixture, whiz it in the old KitchenAid. It's a little bit easier. If you haven't got a KitchenAid, treat your girlfriend or your wife to one. So you don't want it too loose and you don't want it too thick, but you do want it to have a good mixture so they all mix around together and it's a nice consistent mixture of ingredients. So we'll speed this up a little bit and then we'll waz it in the old tin. You've got to grease up the old tin first. Full power, here we go. Right, I've greased up the tin. Now I'm going to stick the wet and dry ingredients that have mixed together into the tin. So make sure you grease it up with either butter or just use sort of baking parchment. But I prefer to just put some butter around it, and it just makes it easier when it comes out of the oven. It doesn't stick at all. So we're going to stick that in there now. See how we get on. These are quite handy. These old things for scooping it out, scooping the old mixture out. So in it goes. Smells bloody lovely already. That's it. There we go. We are ready to go into the oven. We'll see how we get on. So like I said, 45-50 minutes, but check it after 20. So make sure it's all, give it a shake so you've got no air pockets, and then we'll waz it in there. Stick it in the old oven. So not quite middle, just a little bit off of the middle, I think. Slow and steady wins the race. So now I've just got to clear all this mess up. That's the only downside. It's better when my wife makes it and she just calls me when it's ready. But anyway, we've got 45-50 minutes until that's ready. So we'll have a look and see what it looks like when it comes out of the oven, shall we? Oh, look at that beauty. Look at that. What a lovely loaf. There we go, there she is. So what you need to do is you need to test it with like a toothpick or a knife or something. So what you're going to do is pop it in, and then if it comes out clean, you know it's good to go. So that is perfectly cooked. So like I said, I have got a fan oven and it's relatively new, so it's pretty quick. So but there you have it, folks. There is the banana loaf, but I put mine in a pan. So I will put the calories up on screen. So this whole loaf is 852 calories. I'll put them up on screen now. And let's have a look at the protein content. So there's 63 grams of protein in the whole thing. There's 138 grams of carbohydrate, and there's just 6 grams of fat. So decent source of protein and a decent source of carbohydrate. Relatively cheap to make and tasty, healthy alternative stack. Stop you going down the garage, eating a load of crap. So we'll let it cool down, then I'm gonna have a slice of this with a nice cup of coffee and watch the Grand Prix. So I'll reveal the slice later on. Right, so there we have it, folks. That is the banana bread cooked. So 8 slices works out just over 100 calories, 106.5 calories per slice. Healthy, good source of protein, good source of carbohydrates. I reckon it could have done with just a tad longer in the oven, but lovely little snack, great to put and keep in the fridge for at least a week, and a good healthy alternative than just eating monsters, smoking vapes and eating Ginster's sausage rolls. So give it a whirl, give it a try, and let me know what you think. What I like to do now for a bit of additional protein is I make up a little bit of a paste with my protein powder, and then I drizzle it on top. Right, to make the drizzle to go on top, get yourself a little bowl, something like this, 20 grams of protein powder, whiz it in. I use almond milk just because I don't like drinking milk from a cow, but that's a different story. So mix it into a paste, stir it round, and then just drizzle on top of your cake. Lovely bit of sweetness added to it. So I'm going to use blueberry muffin flavour, I think. So I'll show you how to do this. Blueberry muffin flavour, this one. 20 grams in the old little bowl. You don't have to weigh this out if you really don't want to, but I like to. 21 grams, so I got to get it just right. Call me funny. So 20 grams on the button. Almond milk. So 20 grams. I don't weigh out the almond milk, virtually hardly any calories in it. So like any good chef, just remember you can always add, but you can't take away. So add a little bit at a time. Then just get yourself a spoon. Doesn't have to be as long as this cocktail spoon that I've got. A little bit more. Like so. Squeeze it round. A little bit more, depending on what consistency you like, but it's just a nice added little bit of treat. There it is, look. Mix it round properly, like so. Then all you do is drizzle that on top, smother it all in, like so. So you can make this to go on top and then let it set if you want. And there we have it. Banana protein bread, 105 calories. Add in the protein, I'll stick it on the screen. Probably about 130, 140 calories, somewhere around there. Good healthy alternative to stopping at the old garage and giving them loads of money every day. So obviously a bit different from the normal videos, but let me know, comment below if you want to see anything else, some protein pancakes. I could even do sweet potato pancakes, all sorts of goodies that I've made over the years. So comment below if you want to see more of this, and I'll give you some healthy alternative protein rich foods that you can eat instead of wasting all your money at the garage when we're coming into some difficult times. So peace and love, see you in the next one.